Good morning, good day, and good evening. I am, as always, your host, Brody Robertson. And today, it has been quite a while since we've done one of these. Not a podcast, but a solo episode. I honestly could not even tell you the last time it happened. It's gotta be it's gotta be like 3 to 6 months ago, surely. Like, the only reason I wasn't doing them is I just had guests lined up and I just wanted to keep doing the guest episodes. Then Avcon came around and we had like 2 months of the game developer ones, which kind of flopped. I thought they were fun. I enjoyed them, but basically nobody watched them, so I don't know. This is not supposed to be a Linux channel. I refuse to make this a Linux channel. I'm gonna talk about things that are not Linux here. If you don't like that, well, hey, that's a you problem. But I just didn't feel like arranging someone. I have a list of people that I can talk to and people that I know I can get on the podcast literally like the next day. So it's not even a matter of that. It's just people have asked me to do a solo episode again just because, I don't know, it's a nice change, right? Like, when I do the solo episodes, it's a very different thing to what I'm doing with the guest. Because the guest, it's usually like semi-focused, right? It's, you're here to talk about Gen 2. You're here to talk about LFS. You're here to talk about some other thing that is specifically your thing. But when we're on the solo episode, it literally is just I rant about whatever I feel like ranting about. Usually just like tech news that doesn't make its way into like the into the main channel. Sometimes it might be, but hey, if you've never seen a solo episode, now there's one here. I think the best place to start, actually, I've got like a whole list here. Like, I could start literally anywhere. I've got like the Twitter block button. I've got the whole like Twitch bits nonsense. I've got some stuff about the Winamp source code. What my current like YouTube binge is. Like, it's been so long that I don't even know what we do with the solo episode anymore. I think we can talk about the Twitter block button. So it's, by the time this is coming out, like, it's a little bit after like all of this stuff like was first announced, but if you didn't hear that, or somehow you didn't hear it, Mr. Elon Musk, everyone's favorite person, as this Redditor is calling them, apparently this guy's calling him Enron Musk. But breaking, X is about to remove the current block button, meaning that if we have an account that is public, their posts will be visible to the blocked users as well. High time this happened. The block function will block that account from engaging with, but not block seeing the public post. So that's a really weird way to word it. Basically, if you block an account, assuming this goes through, which it's entirely possible it doesn't, because of some stuff we'll talk about in just a moment, if you block an account, you won't see their content, but they will still be able to see yours. I assume they won't be able to interact with it. If they do interact with it, you probably won't be able to see that. My assumption is this is going to work very similar to the way that YouTube's block work. Well, YouTube doesn't call it a block, they call it a hide, where if I hide an account, you can still comment on my content, you can still upvote it and dislike it, but your comment, I think, just gets auto-nuked. Like, you just don't know that it's been deleted, and I never see that comment. Like, it doesn't go into held for review or anything like that. It is just gone. Honestly, I don't know how to unblock people on YouTube. So if I ever hide your account, contact me somewhere else if you actually didn't do something wrong, and I will fix it up there. Because I'll have to Google how to actually fix it. But there has been mainly a lot of criticism of making this move. Let me see if I can find some of it. Block button, Twitter, bad. Yeah, that should. Let's go to, yeah, you know what? Reddit. No, this is from a year ago. Elon deleting the block button except for DMs. Oh yeah, that happened as well, didn't it? I forgot that one happened. Wait, you can't block? Wait, no, that didn't happen. No, I think that was like an idea that he had. Says he wants to get rid of the block button. Nope. Wait, he said he was going to do it back in March as well. Wait, I thought people... Wait, what? These blocks lists are annoying. It achieves nothing to block public posts. Time to get rid of the block in favor of a stronger mute. Okay, so this is not the first time he's actually talked about it. I completely forgot about that happening. So there is a number of issues people have brought up. I can't find people talking about them now, but if you go to Reddit, Twitter, whatever, you'll find them. A lot of it comes down to people being worried about like online stalkers and weirdos on the internet. So you would block someone and then they wouldn't see your account, right? Like if you have some weirdo that's following you everywhere you go, you block them, they don't see it. I understand this argument, but I think it's entirely wrong and based on a complete misunderstanding of how the internet actually functions. So I understand it, but I think you're wrong. When you block someone on Twitter, this is just blocking their account. Now, for people that have like a minor inconvenience with you, right? Like, oh, they don't like your videos on the internet. Oh, they think your voice is annoying. Like, that'll deal with those people. Or like they make a mean comment to you, right? Like those people, the block deals with them. What it doesn't deal with are the actual psychos on the internet, right? Where like these are the people that hang out like Kiwi Farms, 4chan, places like that, who make it their day-to-day business to harass people online. A block button does nothing to those people because if you block someone and they're a psycho, what they do is they make an alt, or not even they make an alt, they have an alt and they go to the alt and they look at your post, they copy the post, they screenshot them, they talk about them elsewhere. Maybe they even talk to you from their alt and like harass you there as well, right? Like the block button does not stop those people because all they do, just go to another account. If the point is you don't want them to see the post, they can log out and see the post anyway. Now, Twitter has like restricted the way that you can see posts while you're logged out, but regardless, you can make an alt. As long as you're not like IP banned from Twitter, you can make an alt and do whatever you want there. But because there is this block button, people have this like false perception that if they've blocked someone, they are now safe to do what they want. Like I have been blocked by a number of people who then think that they can just go and like talk shit and like I'll never see it, but people screenshot the post and send it to me, right? Like if you want to talk shit about someone, a block button is not going to stop the person seeing it. It'll make them less likely, right? Someone who's not determined to see it is not going to see it. But someone who actually is, it just gives you a false sense of safety. And honestly, I feel like it ends up leading to more people getting hurt because they think they can just do what they want now that they have a block button. Now, I do think that there are ways that blocks can be improved, right? Like, it's not a full solution, but if you're blocked from an account, you should probably IP block every single account logged in from that IP right now. So if you have an alt, you're basically auto-blocked from like on those other accounts as well. Now, obviously, a VPN is going to get around that, sure, absolutely. But that's, again, like another step, right? Going to an alt is a minor step. Going to an alt and going to a VPN, like that's an extra step on top of that. There's other like methods you can deal with, but like very intrusive, like, you know, fingerprinting users and like identifying individual systems. Then if someone's blocked on that system, then literally every single person logged in from that system also has that account, like it is blocked by that account already. But I'm not a big fan of data tracking like that, so maybe going that far is like a bit too much. But at least doing like the IP currently logged in, shared cookies. Like if your account is logged on a browser that has a shared cookie with another account, like if you're logged in, like Twitter lets you log in two accounts at the same time. If you have two accounts logged in at the same time and one of those accounts is blocked, then the other account should be auto-blocked, right? Like that would more deal with the problem. Again, you can then swap browsers, so it's not like a perfect solution. You can clear your cookies, things like that, but it's a better solution. And none of these are like perfect, but you can add them together and you like get like a better solution. With the block as it currently stands, I am completely fine with it being removed. Yeah, I actually don't have an issue. Now, I might not have an issue with it, but Apple might. Twitter block button, Apple. So, is anyone talking about this? There's people mentioning it's running afoul of the rules, but someone's actually linked to the section of the Apple TOS. Why is Twitter not opening? What a garbage website. So, my understanding is Apple requires social media platforms to have a block button. Now, it's not loading because my internet's garbage, but it doesn't define what block button actually means. Does this one have a... Why is every journalist fucking awful? Can one of these journalists actually just link to the source provided by Apple? Anyone? Any single no, not this one either. Oh, wait. I think we've found it. It links the entire thing. Okay. Block. Blocking users. Apps must implement... here we go. So this is the Google one. Apps that provide access to publicly accessible UGC, which is user-generated content, such as social networking apps and blogger apps, must implement in-app functionality to report users and content and to block users. Now, from what I can see here, it doesn't define the term block. No. And I believe in the Apple one as well. Yeah, the ability to block abusive users from the service. Is that... that might be the one I was thinking of. But as you can see here, there's no definition of what block actually means, right? So YouTube, for example, is a social media platform, and it has a very light block, where, again, you block the user, and they can still see your content, but you don't see them. So if YouTube doesn't run afoul of these rules, and YouTube is a Google application, I think it would be weird if Twitter ran afoul by having a mute... That's what effectively it would be, right? Like, it would be a mute feature rather than a block. I think a lot of people just want to jump on Elon for every single thing he does, and I understand it because, you know, people don't like the way that Twitter's being run. As you just saw, it literally just died as we're trying to use it. But I do think you should focus on what other things are doing, right? Like, you shouldn't be holding someone accountable for things that everybody else is doing. If other platforms can have only a mute and not a block, then it's probably fine if Twitter's in the same state as well. I'm not going to call it X. It's not X, it's Twitter. But we'll see. Like, honestly, what usually happens with changes like this is Elon's like, I'm going to make this change. It's going to be big. It's going to be great. And then he secretly goes and talks to his lawyers, and they're like, hey, Elon, I know, like, you want to do this, right? But, like, you can't. Like, here is the section of the TOS, like, of the Apple Store and the Play Store. You can't do this. And a couple of days later, what he's going to do is come back and post a tweet being like, you know what? The block button's actually kind of a nice feature. I understand the functionality of it. Or maybe he even, like, holds a poll, right? And the poll is like, block button good. It's like, you know what? Yeah, block buttons are good. I'm actually going to keep it around. Even though I said I was going to get rid of it, even though I said it wasn't useful, I'm going to keep it around. That's what I'm thinking's probably going to happen. It wouldn't be the first time it's happened. It would have many, many cases in the past of it being done. So, yeah. But honestly, the reason why it's probably happening, like the reason why it's probably being discussed, I can think of a couple of reasons. One of them is apparently there are block lists going around of everybody buying Twitter Blue, buying like a fake, what do you call it? A fake verified tag. And just auto-blocking every single account that has bought Twitter Blue, which kind of undermines the the existence of being able to buy verification. And there's a lot of people that block Elon Musk. It is estimated that Elon is the most blocked account on Twitter. So, yeah. which I'm sure is not great for his ego. Now, one, I guess, reason for blocking an account I can get behind is not for your own safety, but for the safety of others. There are people on the internet, I have dealt with them myself, some of them are developers in the Linux space, who have an unhealthy attachment with arguing with you. You don't start the argument, they just want to start the argument on every single post they can start it on. In those cases, sometimes people block them, not because they are annoyed with them, but for their own, like, for that person's own safety and mental health. If they can't interact with your post, it's probably better for them. Obviously, the most psycho of these people will make an alt and do it anyway, but if you're in, like, you know, scaled down, right? You're like at a normal level of psycho. For those people, I can understand. I can understand it. Now, I don't have as much sympathy for these people, right? Like, if somebody wants to be a psycho on the internet, there is so many psychos out there. Twitter is run by them. Twitter is full of them. I can't deal with all of them, so I just kind of like live and let live. If they want to be crazy online, I kind of just let them do so. It's kind of funny to me, actually. And sometimes it gives me content, right? Like, if you're stupid enough, and especially stupid enough about Linux, it is entirely possible I am going to talk about it. So I don't want to get rid of those people. But I also know that I'm, like, you know, willing to farm the content. And I get that some people might be nicer than I am about this. So, yeah. In short, I don't think the block button is that big of a deal, right? Like, I don't really care. I would like direct messages to work properly. That would be nice, where, you know, you could just send a message to people that you were not following without being on Twitter Blue. Also, I'd like notifications to work, which don't work right now, where if someone is not already starting a DM conversation with you, you don't see a notification for it. Also, I'd like the website to work, where if I click on it, it loads, rather than 1 out of 5 times, it's just sits in an infinite loop, and I have to reload, and then reload, and then reload, and then eventually it works. Same thing happening with posts, where sometimes I post something, and it's like, something went wrong. Like, how does something go wrong fucking 20 times a day? And there's not like me trying to send like 20 different tweets. Like, usually it's trying to send the same tweet 20 different times to get it to actually work. Anyone who says that Twitter is working in like a perfect state like it used to be is either delusional or uses it once a day. Like, they like not even once a day, like once every couple of days, because it does not work properly. It is constantly broken. No matter what you do, it's gonna break very, very, very often, which probably gives me a good reason to not use it as much as I use it. But you know, it is what it is. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that for 2 hours because yeah, let's talk about something positive actually. System 76. So, by the time this comes out, Cosmic Alpha 2 is going to have been released. Because everything is done open source, you know, it's open source, right? So you can, like, see when the, like, alpha is there, right? Like, when I got, like, the release notes from System 76, they were, like, embargo until the thing comes out. And the reason why they embargo it isn't because, like, it's actually embargoed and the thing is not there and you can't actually see it. It's they want to give everybody who is in, like, the tech journalisty space around this, like, an opportunity to get their material together so that people don't, like, jump the gun and start talking about things early. But because it is, like, public, if you didn't, like, get the embargo, there's absolutely nothing wrong with going to the Git repo, grabbing the Git commit that is available right now, which is basically Alpha 2. Actually, I think they've generated the Alpha 2 ISO, so the Alpha 2 is basically already there, and just going with that. But I want to say I really appreciate the way that System 76 has been handling their interactions with the FOSS space, with journalists, with YouTubers, and everybody else. So when the Alpha 1 came out, and this isn't just a me thing, right? This is like a bunch of other people. When Alpha 1 came out, I was sent a bunch of press notes. I was sent like a bunch of slides and like release information, like, oh, this is a feature that's happening, all this fun stuff. And they also held a big press event. I did a video on that. That's the thing that I cut up and uploaded on the channel. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that, even though I was awake at a very, 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 very stupid time in the morning. I would very much appreciate showing up to one of those again. Now, with Alpha 2, they didn't do a press event, which makes sense because it's like a month and a half between those 2 points. So there wouldn't really be like much to talk about because yes, there is a bunch of changes. Yes, there's a bunch of commits, but when you're going from nothing to Alpha 1, you have a lot of things. When you're going from Alpha 1 to Alpha 1.1, basically, it's called Alpha 2, but like, you know, it's a month worth of commits on top. There's not as much things to talk about there, but they did send me a 10-page document talking about all of the changes that they they want to talk about. Like, you know, I think one of the things they brought up there was the fact that they now have sound settings, for example. They have network settings, other things like that. There are some things they didn't mention, like the fact that they now have density settings, which is very nice to see. So if you don't like the fact that Cosmic is very, very bloated in the way like the UI is designed, where there's just like gaps everywhere for no reason, you can now go with the compact setting. It's a little bit scuffed. There's a lot of things that don't respect it, or like they might respect it, but the spacing doesn't look consistent. Compact feels like it was designed by one of the engineers, whereas like spacious and comfortable feel like it was designed by a designer. Like, compact is there probably because people like Jeremy Soller were sick of having to deal with spacious, but compact isn't a final design. At least that's what it seems like to me. But I really appreciate the fact that System 76 is reaching out to people to talk about what is being done in their desktop. Because if we look at both GNOME and KDE to a lesser extent, because they do have people like Nate doing his weekly blogs. GNOME has a thing, but it's like, it's less of a, like, GNOME has the, like, GNOME Weekly, whatever it's called. It's less of, like, a formatted post and more like a collection of other posts from other people. So it feels a lot more disjointed. But System 76 is reaching out to people in this space, the journalists, the YouTubers, and basically using them for free marketing, which I very much appreciate because I want to make content on Cosmic, and being provided things early, being provided like release notes, ISOs, things like that, honestly makes things so much easier. And I was going to do the content anyway, but it's clearly building a like relationship with people in this space, and getting in contact with Carl and Jeremy and people like that is very, very easy to do. I need to bring Victoria on the podcast at some point, the developer of Smithy, because I think that'll be fun. But I haven't really seen this same sort of vibe from KDE and GNOME. What I think should be done, right? It doesn't have to happen every single like minor update, but when GNOME 47 drops and 48 drops and 49 drops, and it doesn't have to be like a 2-hour Zoom call, right? But at least reach out to journalists, reach out to YouTubers, send them the version of the GNOME ISO that you're using anyway for testing internally, because you don't need to like generate something new, but like you were already using something for development testing. Send a link directly to that out to people so they have a thing they can go and test, and preferably also send like some sort of release notes. Like, here are the major changes being done. Here's the things you can talk about. Because whilst I might be critical of GNOME, right, I do think GNOME is a cool desktop, and I like KDE. I think there are some bugs that need to be ironed out, but I think it's a great desktop. But it feels like it's weird, right? Where KDE and GNOME feel more corporate and feel more distant than the actual desktop made by a company, right? Like, it's a weird sort of feel where it feels like I can get in contact with someone from Cosmic from System 76 a lot easier than I can get in contact with someone from GNOME or from KDE. I don't mean just like random developers. I mean like, you know, people in the GNOME Foundation or the KDE EV. Like one of the things I talked about when I had when I did the video on Laura taking over. No, that's the Mozilla. Who's the no Mozilla has Laura Chambers. GNOME, they are looking for a new CEO. One of the things I talked about when Holly had left the GNOME Foundation is like I don't remember seeing a single interview that Holly Million had done, whether that be for like even just like a GNOME outlet, right? Like some GNOME person that has a podcast. I don't remember even seeing that. Maybe something happened, but like where was an interview with Phoronix or It's Foss or Gaming on Linux or like me, right? And this isn't just about me, right? Yes, I would like to do these things as well, but why are GNOME and KDE not using the people in this space to promote the material they have? Like, I genuinely don't understand why. It's weird to me, right? Maybe it's because like the projects predate like the way we do things with like tech promotion now, right? Like they're both projects from the 90s, whereas System 76 is newer. They're a company. They're more used to dealing with people directly. I don't know. If somebody like if somebody's happily like from like GNOME, whether that be like honestly anyone high up in GNOME wants to talk, I would absolutely love to have you on the podcast, right? Like I might disagree with you on a lot of things, but like I would happily talk to anyone, and I feel like it would really humanize the people that work on these projects, because when people from KDE have come on and they've talked about stuff, like people can really see like how the thought process for these systems come together. And I don't think that really exists with GNOME. Like people right now, they see GNOME, they think Red Hat, and like it's weird. Again, it's weird where the project that's actually not a corporate project feels more corporate than the actual corporate project. I don't understand how it's happened. And look, if they don't want to fix it, like that's fine. Like you don't have to do anything about it. You can be in this state. You can just ignore the problem. But I don't know. I think it would be a lot more healthy for people to just talk to people. Yeah, like you don't have to agree with everyone. Just talk. That's all. Just talk a little bit. Just say like even just a couple of words here and there. Doesn't even have to be like a 2-hour interview. Just like 15, 20-minute video. I think would be awesome. But is it gonna happen? Probably not. Honestly, I feel like it'd be easy to get someone from Canonical on. There are some Canonical people that follow me, so I'm sure I can work my way up the chain and get someone high up at Canonical on, which would be very funny. Actually, it would be really funny to work my way up the chain with Valve and get someone there on. That would be very amusing as well. Actually, since we're talking about Valve anyway, let's talk about the Frog. Wayland Frog Protocols. Now, the video I've done on this is long out by now, and there's probably plenty more drama since I first talked about this. But Wayland Protocols, man. Wayland Protocols is a shit show. It should be no surprise that I have that opinion on Wayland Protocols, and I'm not the only one that has that opinion, as is evident by the fact that Joshua Ashton is trying to resolve this problem. So, Wayland Protocols, for anyone who is somehow living under a rock, this is the repo where Wayland Protocol design is done. Let's go to merge requests. So, whether that be, what do we have here? XDG top level icon, closes. Can we find, actually, you know what? Let me just go to like a main discussion. Wayland Protocols, XDG top level icons. This? Yes? Yes. Okay. So, this is where, like, the discussion is done to get things ready to be merged. Now, the problem is, as I've talked about a lot, there is a lot of bike shedding. A lot of people focusing on, hey, what color should the bike shed be? Hey, what should this variable name be? Well, window is not the correct term under Wayland. It is actually top-level client. Well, actually, there's a lot of actuallys in this repo, and a lot of developers from a lot of desktops who don't want to admit that use cases outside of their desktop exists, where it's my way or the highway. The problem is everybody in Wayland has equal voting rights, so the highway is for them to go on because they don't actually have the power to vote people out here. They are worth as much as everyone else. It doesn't matter how big your desktop is. It doesn't matter which companies might back you. You are as valuable as every other peasant here. You are also a peasant in Wayland Protocols. Now, because of this, and because people like to go on power trips, things tend to take a very long time. There are some protocols that are still open after 8 years. They might not say 8 years on the GitLab, but some of them predate the GitLab and were talked about on a earlier mailing list and may have come from an even older project. And yeah, so yeah. I've talked about many protocols that stick around for way too long. Now, the goal of the Frog protocols. Where did the article go? Did I close it? Why did I do that? What are you doing, you moron? Here it is. So, Frog Protocols is a repo started by Joshua Ashton of Valve. Eventually, we'll get Joshua on the podcast. There's been many scheduling conflicts and many Joshua responding to my messages and then not responding for 3 months, and then we have to plan things again, and we keep repeating this cycle. I've repeated this cycle about 4 or 5 times now. Eventually, the episode hopefully will happen. Now, the goal of Frog Protocols with this repo right here, yep, this is Frog Protocols. The goal of Frog Protocols is to design things in a more iterative fashion. So, with Wayland Protocols, what tends to happen is, even with staging protocols and unstable protocols, things are treated as if they are already supposed to be stable, right? Like, if something is unstable, it's supposed to be in that experimental phase. It's supposed to be moving quickly, being iterated upon, all that fun stuff. But in Wayland, what tends to happen is once it is opened there, it is treated as if it's supposed to be used in a production system today. And it is criticized as such. There is no interest in getting anything merged early and getting it tested early. It needs to be perfect before any testing is done. What tends to happen with this is, again, a lot of bike shedding, a lot of people focusing on things that don't matter. And when you are doing design by committee with a committee of people that cannot agree on what color the sky is, you run into a lot of problems. So, the goal of Frog Protocols is basically to one of two things. Either circumvent the Wayland Protocol discussion system, or reinvigorate the Wayland Protocol discussion system to have it work in the way that, actually makes a lot more sense, where unstable and staging behave in an unstable or staging way. There has been a lot of feedback on this. I am 99% sure that Joshua was talking to Neil Gomper and Campbell Jones before this went public, because, well, I kind of know this, because I submitted a merge request to Frog Protocols. It was just fixing some like grammar issues in the README, and Neil Gomper approved of the change, and then Campbell Jones merged the change. So clearly there's something there. Also, Neil made a package on Fedora, CentOS, OpenSUSE Tumbleweed. Campbell Jones made a package on Arch. So Also, Xavier Hugel, who made a implementation in Kwin, like immediately upon the repo going public. So clearly there is some coordination here amongst people who are particularly bothered by the state of Wayland. And you know what? Fully support it. Now, some people in Wayland, notably people who are sort of big dogs in Wayland, were not super happy about this being done. Simon Sir still seems to be very much against this. Basically saying, rather than doing this, it makes a lot more sense to just work in upstream protocols. It's not that hard to get a protocol merged. Like, it can be done. What's the actual comment? I don't think adding support for protocols, essentially bypassing the Wayland Protocols consensus, is a good idea. The bar in Wayland Protocols is not that high, and adding support for third-party protocols not representative of the Wayland community isn't a good way forward. Now, the comment we have here is from Plagman. If you don't know, Plagman is Pierre Lou Griffiths, who you may know from Valve. He has done a lot of the early Steam Deck marketing videos. He was present in them. So he's kind of like a big dog at Valve. He was very much in favor of the change being done. Xavier Hugel wrote a big essay being in favor of the change being done. Actually, one thing very amusing about the people who upvoted Simon's comment, it has changed since then, but when I first saw this, there was 4 upvotes. Every single person who had upvoted at the time was either a GNOME developer and or a Red Hat employee. So the people who are most disruptive in Wayland were the most in favor of not disrupting the Wayland process. The people who are most likely to have a power trip were the most in support of the current governance model that allows them to have power trips and block things from being merged into Wayland. Imagine that. What a weird coincidence that is. There was a scorcher of a comment from Lude Paul earlier as well. It ended up being deleted, I think because she realized it made her sound like an absolute psycho. I have a screenshot of... Do I have a screenshot of the comment? Or is it on my Discord? Hold on. I know I posted it somewhere. It is incredible. Is it here? Where is the comment? I might have just posted it on Discord. Like, I might have copied it rather than actually saving it. Let me see if I can find it. I didn't have Discord open. I rebooted my system just before. I was testing stuff on Cosmic, so I did like a full reboot between those points. Is this it right here? Yes. This was the comment initially. This is really disappointing to see and incredibly unhelpful to the situation at large. I can understand frustration with Wayland protocols, but we've been genuinely trying to figure out ways to improve the situation there as best we can at FDO, that is freedesktop.org, and the reality is splitting things out like this is just going to segment support for protocols further across compositors. We need more active input from people on actual changes that could be made to the project as a whole in order to be able to make things better. Now we're just going to get people having to pick side to actually contribute things on and further empower people who are causing problems in Wayland protocols. If you actually have concrete ideas about this stuff, please suggest them to us instead of making the lives of all the people working on Wayland protocols harder, because now we have to deal with interested contributors being split between the two. And inevitably, I kind of assume that's going to make things worse for Wayland protocols if we can fix the reputation it has and as a result have less input from actual experts outside if we can't fix the reputation it has and as a result have less input from actual experts outside our community. Behind the scenes, basically all of us recognize the problems with Wayland protocols. We are more than willing to put forth the effort of actually trying to fix this, especially from the side of the Code of Conduct team, which Lude Paul is a member of. But it is really difficult to do that meaningfully if we don't have input from people actually involved with Wayland protocols. This is exactly what this project does. This project, if nothing else, pissed off people involved in Wayland and got people actually talking about the problem. Like, every big name had something to say about this. There was like a big post from Pekka of the Western project, basically saying like, yeah, the way Wayland Protocols works, it is not how it should be working. Like, in the early days of Wayland, we had it like this because we didn't want things to just be one-for-one replicated from X11. We wanted to try to do things better, but things have gotten basically too strict. He described it as Wayland Protocols is the blessed holy ground that people were desiring. The problem with it being a blessed holy ground, though, is only certain things are allowed in the blessed holy ground. So you end up with this situation where everything has to be perfect, otherwise it is not allowed in. Now, to be fair, Lude did delete these comments and apologize and say, I sounded like a psycho. Let's actually talk through how we can fix these problems. And seems to be more on the side of Joshua now. It seems like... It's weird, right? Initially, Lude Paul was very much against this, and initially a lot of people were very much against this. Simon is still against it. Simon will get on board in like 6 months or so. That tends to be what happened with Simon. He usually is very like against something for like the first 3-6 months, and then when everybody agrees it's a good thing, that's when he usually changes his mind. He's like, oh, okay, I guess fighting this is not worth it anymore. I'll just accept it. That's what happened with screen sharing. It's happened with a bunch of other protocols. I have no doubt it'll happen with this as well. But it seems like by Joshua taking some of the initial flack and getting this opened, it's made it easier now for people who, I guess, were worried about getting flack themselves, to, like, put something out there, right? Like, as Lude said here, everybody knows it's a problem, but there's this, like... I honestly, I think a good way to put it, and this is true for a lot of projects, there is this mindset of toxic positivity where you cannot... Well, it's toxic positivity about, like, the structure. Now, internal to the structure, toxic as hell, right? Like, if you go in Wayland Protocols, especially before certain people got banned, certain GNOME developers, certain people got banned, at least temporarily, discussions would be a hellscape. Like people were actually, like, making personal insults, people were impersonating voting members. I say people, one person was doing it, at least most notably, and, like, all that stuff. But around the way Wayland works, it's like, we can't talk about this. The structure, it works. It's fine. It's okay. But Joshua, like, breaks that mold, breaks that initial discussion, and now people are like, oh, it's fine that we can criticize this. We can actually say Wayland Protocols is a shithole. It is a fucking mess. And I've been saying this for probably since I've been talking about Wayland Protocols, right? Like, but I am someone outside the project, and I understand in that context why someone might, like, not agree with me, and why someone might not want to, like, step up and say it. But it's gotten to the point now where it's just not workable, right? Like, there are so many stalled protocols. Joshua's been around doing Wayland stuff for a long time now. GameScope is very mature. Valve wants to start shipping Wayland by default on the Steam Deck, so I imagine there's probably some, like, internal discussion about, like, how do we fix this shit? Like, how do we actually get KDE fixing issues they have on Wayland, fixing things that are missing? How do we clean things up with GameScope? How do we get things ready for the product we are actually selling? And by having that push there, I don't know, like, I don't think this is a project sponsored by Valve, right? Like, Frog Protocols is not, like, directly paid for by Valve. Joshua Ashton is obviously a Valve employee, so is Plagman. But I would be very surprised if there weren't internal meetings discussing, like, how do we do this? Like, what can be done here to resolve this better, to make it actually work like it should. And Frog Protocols, at least initially, has started up some very productive discussions, and we'll see if in the long run they actually play out. Because obviously when you're in like early days, like there's a couple of days after the fact, it's hard to really see. And things in Frog Protocols might just become like they are in Wayland Protocols, and it's just double the problem. But I hope that we can at least address governance issues and make Wayland Protocols feel like a place that people actually want to get involved in, and don't feel like if they submit a protocol, they're going to get harassed. They're not even just harassed, right? Like, they're going to get, like, yelled out the room by, like, Wayland purists who are like, no, this is not my... Hashtag not my Wayland. Hashtag bad feature. When it's like, users desire this feature. It doesn't really matter if you don't want it. This is a feature that users need. This is a feature that app developers need. You need to get off your high horse and actually let it become a thing. It's one thing if no one wants to work on it, but when there are developers willing to implement it, and then other developers are like, no, this is not in my Wayland. We can't have window plate locations. We can't have top level icons. We can't have screen tearing. Like, especially after a couple of months of that, I can understand why someone might just have zero interest in being involved in Wayland ever again. And I've noticed this, like, firsthand. There are names I used to see a lot more frequently who just never show up anymore, or, like, they have long-running protocols, and the protocols end up being stalled because they have to deal with just absolute fucking psychos who won't let up on just basic points that should just be fine to bring in. But Wayland. Wayland. It is what it is. Actually, you know what? Let's this might be a shorter one. Let's slightly detour to a video game for a moment. I am a big Monster Hunter World fan. I haven't done Iceborne yet. I will get to Iceborne eventually. And considering that Monster Hunter Wilds is coming out in February, I might have to finish Iceborne a little bit quicker. But the reason why we're talking about Wilds isn't because of the game. I want to talk to you about the fucking absolutely cooked system requirements. So, do you remember the days where you would buy a PC game, like a new PC game, and it'd be like, yeah, you need a GPU that's 2 generations old, and that's the recommended, like maybe even 3 generations old. Like you're on the 10 series at this point, and it's like you need a 680. That's recommended, right? Obviously, if you want higher, get something newer, and same thing with the CPU. Usually like 3 or 4 generations out of date, that is your recommended. Let's just have a look at what it says for Monster Hunter Wilds. This is absolutely fucking cooked recommended requirements. The minimum is also cooked, but recommended is what I want to focus on. OS, Windows 10, no one cares. Wait. When does Windows 10... Hold up. When does Windows 10 stop being updated? Windows 10 EOL. October. This is a game that comes out in February next year, and they're still recommending Windows 10 as the OS. That should probably say Windows 11. Anyway, processor. This is where it gets very, very cooked. Intel Core i5 11600K. Recommended. Or Intel Core i5 12400. Okay. AMD Ryzen 5 3600X or AMD Ryzen 5 5500. Okay. This is my CPU, by the way. I need to upgrade my CPU. Memory, 16 gigs of RAM, totally fine. But here's the GPU. RTX 2070, RTX 4060, or AMD RX 6700 XT recommended. This is the current gen Nvidia. This is one generation behind AMD. Now, the additional note is where it's also cooked. SSD required, that's fair, it's a modern video game, whatever. This game is expected to run at 1080p 60 with frame generation enabled under the medium graphics. So, 4060, frame generation medium, 60 FPS. What the fuck has happened to PC specs? What in the world has happened with developers just going fucking wild with not optimizing their game? Like, there is no way. Like, I've seen what Wilds looks like. There is no fucking world where these specs make sense unless the game is horribly unoptimized, which would make sense, because that's every fucking modern game right now. Nobody fucking optimizes anything, and this is what ends up happening. This is insane. If I don't upgrade my CPU, I'm probably going to be playing this game fucking low. Like, what? Like, I think frame generation has done so much damage for game optimization. This is my hot take. It has allowed developers to be so fucking lazy. They're just like, oh yeah, just do frame generation. Like, it's gonna look good. It's gonna look close enough, I guess. So that's fine. Like, Wukong's another game that, like, its fucking performance is absolutely cooked. I don't know what its like recommended like specs are. I've not actually looked at them. I should do that. Where are they? So, okay, these ones make sense, but the performance is still cooked in the game. i7 9700, AMD 5 5500, 16 gigs of RAM, 2060, 5700 XT, Arc A750. The above specifications were tested with DLSS, FSR, XE. It's still fucking frame generation nonsense. But, like, these specs make a lot more sense, right? Like, this is a 2-generation old AMD card, NVIDIA card. This is 2-generation old AMD. This is like 3-generation old Intel CPU. What in the world is the deal with Wilds, though? Like, I am so fucking confused by this. Surely this has to be just like their dev machine, right? Like, this can't be their actual recommended specs. Time to fucking upgrade the PC to play this game well, I guess. Like, you'll need a fucking... If you want to play this game on, like, high settings, you're going to be running, like, a fucking 4070, 4080, which... For, like, again, this is not fucking Christ... Like, what are these crisis specs? This is what... Like, like, what is this? I honestly think that a lot of games... Like, because of how powerful PCs are, it actually just has hurt the way people write things. Like, you don't have to optimize things if you can expect that people have these just wild GPUs. Maybe we need to go back to a point where PC hardware just stopped upgrading fast for a while. We need to stop having these tech innovations just so we can actually fucking force game developers to either get their shit together and optimize things, or stop trying to, like, go for ultra realistic every fucking thing. Just tone things down a little bit, or, like, even if not toned down, just work out how to do what you're trying to do in a way that doesn't fucking cause a fire in my house. That would be pleasant. I would very much enjoy that. But I mentioned Wukong in there a bit. Wukong, besides its performance being cooked, it is a very fun game. But man, that game is a little buggy. So you know how you see a lot of games that have, like, hey, slide through this gap. It's a hidden loading screen. We're not going to tell you that, but it is a hidden loading screen. Or you'll push open a door and it takes you like fucking 10 seconds to open a door. The reason why it's like that, anytime you see long to open doors, anytime you see sliding through a gap, whether it's like a walking gap or like crawling under a section, anytime you see a fucking elevator, all of these things are loading screens. They're just hidden loading screens. Now, Wukong, the game developers were not AAA game developers making big worlds. So they don't seem to understand these issues. There is a lot of points in Wukong where there is clearly supposed to be a zone transition, and they did not put one there. So in Chapter 2, when you walk towards the desert boss, not from the staircase side, but the side that has the big door, if you walk back and forth through that door, the lighting conditions completely change, and like everything just changes color because there's supposed to be some sort of transition there. They just didn't add one. There are so many times where you walk out of a cave and shadows just switch to a completely different location as you go in and out the cave because, again, they didn't put a transition there to have you go between the cave. Like, there should be a turn there or something to hide the lighting difference between those two zones, but they just never bothered to add it. Again, I this is entirely because they're just not used to building these big worlds. Again, they fucking make mobile garbage games. But the gameplay, man, I can ignore some cooked lighting and some... I can't ignore the absolutely god-awful performance the game has, especially in any area that has a lot of particles. Especially any area that has a lot of particles. Now, the problem is that's most of the game. So if you combine particles with a big area, the frame rate goes from here to here and doesn't come back for a bit. But the gameplay is very, very, very fun. I am bad at it. I'm sure there are people who are good at playing the game who actually like deal with stuff in a way that makes sense, but I just like to bash my head against things and it tends to work. Oh, the other thing that I find really weird is the game has a lot of areas that they don't intend for you to go back to, but you can. So in Chapter 1, where you fight the big yellow baby, that area, when you go to it, when you beat the boss, it teleports you back out. That's where you get the, what is it called? Like, I'm thinking Monster Hunter terms, fireproof mantle. It's the fireproof thing that you get where, like, it makes beating the big bear boss easier. But you can go back to that area. There is a teleport point in there. And if you try to go to the end of the area, there's a staircase there. If you try to walk up the staircase, there's an invisible wall there. If in Chapter 3, this is a minor spoiler, there is a big ice lake. And on that lake, you fight one of the bosses. I'm not going to say the boss. It's a cool boss. The hitbox is weird, but it's a cool boss. Now, this lake, you can go out to the end of it. It takes maybe 2 minutes to walk to the end of the arena. I have no idea why they made the area so big. And you can walk around the entire thing. And I think it takes maybe 10 minutes to navigate around the edge of the entire lake. Now, you might think, oh, there's going to be, like, something out there. Like, why make it so big if there's not enemies or items or something out there? There is nothing. Literally nothing out there. It's actually so much nothing that certain points of that area out there, they use low poly models and lower quality textures because they never actually expect you to go out there. Also, the hitboxes for the edge of the map are wrong, so you're maybe like 3 meters away from the cliff face, but there's an invisible wall there. But it, like, lines up with the shape. They just didn't push it back far enough. There's a bit where there's an invisible wall that, like, raises you off the ground, which is clearly supposed to be for a rock that you can stand on, but it doesn't align with the rock, so you can just, like, jump like floating in the air. Near the edge, like the point where you go onto the lake, there is a bit that you can get an item. It's not worth it though, and it's definitely not the 10-minute walk around to get it. You can like see it from the starting point. I just didn't notice it there when I first went there. But like this is something you would never see in any other game, because most game developers have gone to like some game development school, or they have some knowledge of like other game development projects before they work on something like Wukong. But because they don't, at least they don't seem to, they just do things that are just weird and feel like they feel more jank. Like Wukong is a game that clearly has a budget of a AAA game, but feels like an indie game. There's like weird indie design quirks about it from like game developers who haven't worked in this genre before, and it really makes the game like kind of endearing. That being said, there's some boss mechanics which is just fucking weird as hell. The boss fights are great, and most of the bosses are really good, but I do think the difficulty scaling of the bosses is like, it's fucking all over. It's not even like a consistent wave. It's like whoop, 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 and then just like fucking back to the floor. Like some of the bosses take me one try. Other bosses, like the final boss of chapter 1, I thought was really difficult. Actually, I think the hardest boss I've fought so far is like the blue baby, which like causes a big fucking AoE, but you don't realize how big the AoE is gonna be when you first fight it. But also, I guess you're kind of getting used to the mechanics. I think that's the fucking first boss in the game. Is one of the hardest ones. The final boss of chapter 1, the flame bear, very difficult. The martial arts tiger in chapter 2 that you fight in like the lake of blood, or the pool of blood. Very predictable fight. Like you know what he's going to do, but it is hard to get those mechanics down, because it's also like all the bosses in this game have a lot of mechanics. Like you'll see a lot of games where like the boss will have, let's imagine a game like Dragon Age Veilguard. They showed off a boss fight with like a dragon, and the dragon had 3 attacks, maybe 4 attacks that they showed, where it was breathe fireball, tail swipe, jump, slam, and run at you. And that was all of the mechanics it had. Whereas fighting the what was called like ferocious tiger or something like that in Wukong, like it's got like its punch combo. It's got like a feint where it will do this sword attack, but first 2 have a certain timing. The third attack, so he'll like spin, he'll like slash, spin, and then slash. So it like throws off the timing. Here's the attack where he'll like turn invisible and then charge you. Here's the attack where he'll like jump up and then slam down. But then he's got like a different version of that, and sometimes he combos the attacks into other attacks. So he'll do like the like slash, spin, slash, jump, slam, and then like go into like the invisible and then charge you. And it's not always that same combo of abilities. And when you start up a fight as well, sometimes the mechanic they use also differs. So a lot of the time when you're fighting the tiger, he starts it with the jump slam, but sometimes he goes into slash, spin, slash. So you're not even sure how the fight is going to start. And basically every boss is like this, where there is a lot of mechanics, and some of them, because they're really easy, you don't see them all. But another good one is when you're going through chapter 3, there's a big dude who's just a fucking MMO boss, where like if you put this boss into FF14 or like FF16, which is basically a single player version of 14 because Yoshi P just made the same game twice, this boss is really weird, where the boss itself doesn't attack you. Like the boss doesn't move, it just stands there. But all of its attacks are either it will summon some ads, so there's a bunch of statues there, it can revive the statue, so you should like break the statues at the start of the fight. But if you do that, he still has these other laser-based attacks where, like, one of them is he'll shoot a laser where there's no visual indicator of the laser. It's only timing based, and a lot of the attacks are like that, where there is zero visual indicator. It is just a consistent timing pattern. So it'll be like dodge, 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 or it'll be dodge, 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 dodge. And once you get that pattern down, it feels really nice. But that like initial run, you're like, I didn't see it. What the fuck just happened? But like, here's this big laser attack. He'll summon like this big circle around him, and that's when he'll have like a laser chasing you. And then also those timed lasers. So you're trying to dodge the other one by just walking around, but then you need to keep that time in your head. So you're like, dodge, 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 dodge. While also lasers coming around everywhere as well. So if you stand too close to it, it's going to throw off your dodge timing. And you're like, wait, am I supposed to dodge now? Or is it supposed to be like another second from now? And there's also this attack where it will spawn these like statues around the side. And it basically makes like a laser grid, but not like a complex grid, where it'll like have like two lasers coming in like to form a square in the center. So one moving this way, the other moving this way. I guess it's 4 lasers, and it'll be like closing in on a square. Once you realize that, you just like, oh, I just jump over it and it just don't stand near the combo, and boom, you get it. And then like towards the end part of the fight, it'll do that, and also like the timing laser as well. So it feels a lot harder. But the boss itself doesn't have any melee attacks. So between those stages, you can just like wail on it. There is another boss that literally doesn't attack you. Like, there is no boss fight. It has a boss health bar, but all of the fight is based on you fighting minions. And it spawns like 10 of them at the start, and you're like, I'm dead, because these are difficult enemies at the time anyway. But once you clear those out, you can just win the fight. There's like no extra thought to it. And there have been a couple of reskinned bosses. I think so far, I fought maybe like, I think there's been like maybe 2. Like, you have Blue Baby, Yellow Baby, and like Yellow Baby is just Blue Baby with like a couple extra mechanics. But also much easier because it also spawns these ads which give you health, so you can't die in the fight. There's a couple of others like that, but besides those, every boss that is a unique boss is a unique boss, right? Like, you don't, like, you know, you play a Souls game, right? And you fight dude with a sword, dude with a sword, dude with a spear, dude with a sword and a shield, dude with a sword, but then he switches to a spear and then maybe switches to an axe, right? Like, you get into that cycle with Souls games where a lot of the bosses feel similar, but like everything in Wukong, it's like, okay, so you have Blue Baby that's like smashes its face, its head on the ground, causes big AoE. You have this fucking, you have dude with a sword. There is a dude with a sword, and he fucking sucks. So he kicks you off the bridge and you instantly die. There is Tiger, which is like martial arts Tiger. You have fucking Fire Bear, where it's just a bear, but it's on fire. Why? I don't know. I don't understand the cutscene. I don't know what's going on. You have like laser statue. You have boss that doesn't attack you. You have this giant fucking demon thing that like bashes its head on the ground. Very easy boss. You do like 10x damage to it. I don't know the reason why, but like very easy boss. You have the boss that gives you the ability to make every single fight trivial, where you can like transform into like this like wolf thing. The rising tides ability, I never use it because it literally trivializes every single fight. Instead, I use Kage Bunshin. I use the shadow clone ability, which also trivializes every fight. You have this fight where you fight like some big like golem, like stone golem. It's just a golem. It just smacks its head on the ground and like smacks the ground. You have this you have all of the long fights. The long fights are so different, where like the first one, it has this like these barrels on its back. If you break them, it does bonus damage, but it also does like lightning damage to you. there's the long dragon fight where it's a big fucking Chinese dragon. You might have seen it in one of the trailers. It's actually not a difficult fight. It's just the hitbox is weird on it because it's a Chinese dragon, so the way it moves is also kind of weird. So I'm not used to like how Chinese dragons move, but the lock on point is its head. But a lot of the time, you actually want to be locked onto the tail, but there's no lock on the tail. So most of that fight, you're fighting without lock on. Is like I can there's all of these other, like, everything is unique in the game, and it's so cool. And apparently there's DLC being worked on, which will be very exciting. I want to see what happens with that. If you've not played Wukong, I highly recommend you play Monkey Game. It is very, 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 very fun. You will enjoy it. If you like action games, you will enjoy it, especially if you can play it on a system that doesn't have performance issues. So good luck with that. Play it on console, and you might have a better experience in that regard. Or you might not. I don't know. You know what? Let's talk about the Twitch bits situation. So it's been resolved by now, but I'm honestly surprised I'm not surprised. I am amused by it happening. So it's not. I don't know if it's starting to get into conspiracy territory, right? Where people are convinced that there are moderators or admins at Twitch that do not like VTubers. I have no doubt that Dan Clancy is fine with them. He's been on VTubers shows before. He seems like he has like no issue with VTubers. Yes, all of his recommended is Kuma ASMR channels, but that is based. I respect that. But there seems like there is someone at Twitch that doesn't like VTubers. So this situation is a bunch of VTubers were getting banned for stolen payment information to buy Twitch bits. Now, if this was just one, who cares, right? It was happening to non-VTubers, so maybe in this case it was something different. But like, I think 30 or 40 different channels got banned for the exact same thing within a day. And I would believe it if there's like one or two people who like, yeah, this happened, yeah, problem. But like, all of these people, like, there's clearly some issue that was happening on Twitch's end. Twitch did reply to this. Let's see if I can. Oh, I just found. I just saw something from the Sony State of Play. Horizon Zero Dawn getting a remaster. A fucking PS4 game getting a remaster. Jesus Christ. Sony just released Bloodborne. Just release Bloodborne on PC. Like, what are we doing here? Break glass in case of emergency. But Twitch support responded, we've received several reports of these accidental suspensions. These have now been reverted by the appropriate team. Will be following up with the affected users via the accounts associated email with additional information. Before this, though, you had a bunch of VTubers getting banned for, like, lewd content who didn't do lewd content, or if they did do lewd content, it was way, way more tame than anything that you see just normally in the ASMR category. Like, just go to ASMR on Twitch right now, and you will see so much worse than people getting banned for. So now there is this open post on Twitch's user voice. Now, Twitch often ignores user voices, especially unless they get a lot of angry people. Even then, they just ignore them. There was a while back where there was a user voice about people misusing the VTuber tag. Like, when they first added the VTuber tag, you had regular streamers all using it, and they were like, oh, Twitch is fine with it. Twitch is fine with it. Oh, no one's moderating it. We can just do this. It was getting people a lot of extra views. They still didn't do anything about it. They still don't do anything about it to this day. So I have my doubts over this, but this is equal and fair treatment for VTubers, moderation, and transparency. Again, a lot of people are getting banned. There was the TwitchBit situation. People don't know what the rules are on this platform because it's very, very clear. And I don't care what anyone at Twitch has to say about this. It is completely clear that the rules for VTubers and the rules for regular streamers are different. And if they're not different, they're being enforced differently. Where the content that is allowed on the ASMR section, on the pools and hot tub section, is so much worse than any VTuber's been banned for. Now, there have been people banned for sensible reasons, like during the art situation where Twitch allowed genitals on Twitch because they changed the way their art rules worked. People like Annie got banned for drawing futa. Understandable. Yes, it's technically said it in the rules. Obviously, that was not what was intended to be done with the rules. Yes, she got banned for that. But normal situations where streamers are doing normal things, like, you know, they have an outfit reveal, they're like, ooh, look at this bikini outfit, and it's like nowhere near as bad as like the micro bikinis people are wearing every day on the ASMR section, ban. Or you see like when Camilla got banned, where like she had a toggle for lifting up her skirt, and it's like, okay, sure, whatever, ban for that. But then look at the ASMR category where, again, people are wearing even less clothes and doing so much more. That's fine, but with the VTubers, it's not. Like, clearly, there is an issue with the way that moderation is being done here. And at TwitchCon, Dan Clancy was like, we're gonna make sure Twitch is more transparent. We're gonna make sure, you know, people know why they're banned. We're gonna link to the section of your video, of your stream that got you banned. And then the day after TwitchCon, shit just went to hell. So I don't know what's gonna happen here. I really don't. I really do hope that things do get better. People are obviously like, oh, we're gonna leave Twitch. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. Like, no, you're not. No, you're not. Like, it's not gonna happen. Like, you might go to YouTube, but people are talking about we're gonna go to other platforms. We did a platform for VTubers. There actually was a platform for VTubers. It completely failed because no one used it, because the people who watch VTubers don't just watch VTubers, and it's very difficult to get people to go to a new platform for like one creator. It works in some contexts. Like, initially it worked with Mixer, and then people were like, I want to watch something besides Ninja. And there was nothing on the platform besides Ninja. And the same thing happened with a VTuber platform as well. It's like, I want to watch Iron Mouse. It's like, okay, I'm done watching Iron Mouse. What else is here that's not a VTuber? Nothing. And usually don't even get people to go to the platform in that context. You just have issues. So it would be much better if the actual platforms that people use were doing things consistent. Get rid of the people that hate VTubers. They shouldn't be working your stuff. You shouldn't have double standards for your rules. Just stop it. Like, what are you doing? Like, literally the most subbed like channel on Twitch is Iron Mouse, right? Like, the biggest account you have on your platform right now is a VTuber, and there is this double standard for VTubers. So I don't know. And maybe some people don't care, right? Like, maybe just like, I want to watch content. It doesn't matter what happens with it. And that's understandable, right? Like, it is not your job to care about why people, like, why rules are being enforced inconsistently. It's your job to enjoy content. But it would be nice if you could enjoy that content without people just getting banned for stupid things. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. So since we're on the topic of gaming and Twitch and all that fun stuff, God of War Ragnarok was released on PC. I don't have a copy of Ragnarok for console. But where is it? This is not in alphabetical order. I should fix that. Oh, no, that's the other version. I don't know. I have a copy of the PS4 God of War. I don't know where it is in there. I've not played it yet. I need to do that. Or better yet, God of Boy. Dad of Boy, if that is how you want to name it. Now the PC release of Ragnarok requires PSN login. Technically, because people found a way to bypass it, and you don't actually need it. Now, I fully expect Sony to patch this out and break the mod and require some other method to do so. But the fact that you can do it means it is not a fundamental requirement of the game. There is clearly a way that you can get around this. Oh, it got deleted already. It is available on other platforms. Do be noted though that any mod you run, especially that is not vetted, probably is gonna be kind of sketchy, you know. Yeah. I just don't know what Sony's doing, right? Like, I really don't know what is going on over in Sony land. Like, the whole connect to PlayStation on PC, like that's like the bottom tier of the issues, right? Like, Sony just has L after L after L. Like, I watched State of Play. Is this what happened in State of Play, right? You had Dynasty Warriors Origin, you had Monster Hunter Wilds, you had Alan Wake 2, a DLC, if that's something you care about. You had the Stellar Blade Nier collab. What is actually in the Stellar Blade Nier collab? I know it's the picture mode and like a costume, but is that it? Because is it like a zone that you can go to, or is it? I don't think we actually know. I think it literally is just. It might actually just be photo related stuff. Surely there's content here, right? Like there's no way that all it is you just get to look at Eve dressed like 2B. Surely not. Like there was this picture right. That's a fucking awful picture. Let's try it again. There was this picture right at the end of the trailer they showed. It's like, I don't know, maybe there's some content. Maybe it literally is just nothing, which would be very funny. Would people buy it? Yes, 100% people would buy it. I need to play Stellar Blade as well. That is very much on my my need to do list. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But like, you also had what is it? Ghost of Yote? Is that what it was? Ghost of Yote. The Ghost of Tsushima 2. Yeah. There was Astrobot updates, I guess. Astrobot. I think Astrobot is the only thing that Sony has right now that is not an L. And imagine being on the Astrobot team. How much Sony probably fucking loves you. Like, you just lost $400 million to Concord. You just lost all of, like, it's not even you've lost 400 million. I am almost certain that the reason why State of Play was so short is there was probably going to be another 15 minutes or so of, like, Concord Battle Pass, Concord skins, Concord maps, Concord cutscenes, and they cut it all because the game is dead. But if you're in the Astrobot team, people fucking love Astrobot. I have not heard a single person negative about Astrobot. I think the only negative person I've heard is Astrobot is really fucking hard. Like that might actually be the only negative point I've heard about Astrobot. Which, if that's the only negative thing you have, like, you're doing really fucking well, right? Like, oh, I like that. Look, they need something, right? They need something. Then you have, like, they had like an announcement for a fucking, like, ooh, you want to get a fucking blue PS5 or metallic blue PS5. Nope. Metallic green. Nope. Metallic white. Nope. And then, I think my favorite part is they had the PS5 Pro guy come out and list out the big three again. It was like, you have bigger GPU, you have AI upscaling, and fucking whatever other bullshit they're trying to sell with the PS5 Pro. Oh, God. Sony is in, like, Sony is, kind of screwed. Honestly, what I think is going to happen, because I'm surprised we didn't see anything Kingdom Hearts or like anything. But when is TGS? TGS 2024. Literally tomorrow as I'm recording this. So maybe everyone's like, fuck Sony. We're going to do shit at TGS. Honestly, very, very possible. Like, even if we don't see, like, a gameplay trailer for KH4, like, something, right? Like, a fucking, hey, guys, you can pre-order now and get a Kyrie statue or something. Like, surely, they've got to show something for KH4. And maybe by the time you guys see this, you get to laugh at me. You're like, haha, you thought it was going to be something KH4. There's not. But, hopefully, it would be nice. Man, the world of gaming is, it's something right now. It's certainly something. Video games, man. Fucking video games. Just play old video games. Everything's happy. Just don't, if you just wait like 5 years to play a game, like you'll be happy then. Actually, the only new game I'm playing right now is technically not new because it's like early access and stuff. I've been playing a lot of Core Keeper recently, and Core Keeper is very fun. I've just not technically finished. I've still got like a boss or two to fight. Pretty much finished the starting biomes. So I'm making my way out to the Great Wall at some point, but I'm probably gonna prep a bit more before I do that. Because yeah, I unlocked everything. I beat the bit. Gorm the Destroyer, I honestly thought was gonna be a lot worse, because like, so if anyone who hasn't played Core Keeper, to get to the outer biomes, get past what they call the Great Wall, you need to beat the first 3 bosses in the game. The way they define it is a bit different, but like there's 3 like bosses that have like these statues that connect to the core. You were keeping the core, you whatever. You need to like beat these 3 specific bosses. So there's the slime boss, there's Gorm the Destroyer, and Malgoose, we'll call him Malgoose. Yeah, Malguaz. Fucking doesn't matter. Slime boss, very easy. If you die on the slime boss, that's a you problem. That is peak skill issue if you die on the slime boss, especially if you go find a feather first, because once you can dodge, every fight becomes trivial. Who needs shields when you can just dodge everything? Malgoose is more annoying because he fucking spawns fire on the ground, and you gotta like dodge the fire and fight him at the same time. And I didn't realize that healing potions existed by that point, so I was healing with food, which is not the optimal way to do the fight. But Gorm the Destroyer, he's like cycles around the map, and basically, like, once you go out there, if you stand in front of him, you die. He does like 10,000 damage. You just die. So you have to do enough damage to him before he gets too far away. Otherwise, he starts recovering. And by the time he gets back to you, he'll be at full health. I think it's when you get to like 80% or something, he will enter his like combat stage where you can actually fight him. I don't know what like the optimal way to do this, but I just built a path and just ran like alongside him, just doing as much damage as I could as quickly as possible. And once I actually did the fight, very, very easy to beat him. So it wasn't actually a problem at all. I saw that boss, like, how the fuck do you beat this thing? And then when I actually like tried to build a tunnel, I was like, oh, that was easy. that was actually very easy. By that point, I had this pet which shot fireballs, and I also had the fireball staff. So I was just like melting the health bar anyway. So he was like, I think it was taking like 50 or 60 fire damage a second, taking like 300 damage for each hit, and it didn't matter. The boss just went down. I'm very curious to see what the outer biomes have, and I'm curious to see some of like the more end gamey mechanics, like automation and things like that. But I've got some basic automation stuff right now, but there's like some wood farm stuff you can do, and you can like drill ore deposit. It's a very cool game. If you've not played Core Keeper, I highly recommend you go and do so. It is very, very, very fun. I was looking on Twitter just a second ago, and I saw a post from Liam Dorr. Since it keeps being repeated by news sites and YouTubers, no, Microsoft are not forcing anti-cheat or anything out of the Windows kernel. I feel like people covering it simply didn't actually read the Microsoft blog post. So there was this, I've talked about it to fucking no end, but lazy, fucking useless YouTubers keep talking about it as if it is real. So there is an article by Notebook Check, which is by an author who does not know how to read, who wrote this article saying Microsoft paves the way for Linux gaming success with a plan that would kill kernel-level anti-cheat. Now, the blog post it references never actually said any of this. Like, the blog post it references literally said the opposite, saying that they want to keep kernel-level modules around. Like, it literally said they're not getting rid of kernel-level access. All it said is they're going to provide means for developers to do things outside the kernel. Or not provide means, but provide more means than what they already were doing. And lazy fucking YouTubers, lazy fucking journalists read this Notebook Check article, didn't check any of the sources, and now people like me, people like Liam Dorr of Gaming on Linux, who is a absolute legend, who actually does know how to read, who wrote a blog post explaining what's actually going on here, have to keep dealing with people who just keep fucking sharing it around. So I've seen a low-level learning video where it was bullshit, and I called him out on it being bullshit. He got 800,000 views on it, has not taken down the video, has not commented on being entirely wrong, misleading 800,000 people, and I don't care if people think, oh, why are you bullying the YouTuber with 689,000 subscribers? Why are you sending your fans over to bully him? If you're gonna say bullshit on the internet, you deserve to be bullied. I genuinely do not fucking care. The only comment he's pinned here is the only comment he has pinned is about Valve having fucking kernel anti-cheat. Oh, you know what? Are there still comments here? Like, I know comments were calling him out, but I wonder if they still are. Clickbait video. Like, most people, this is the problem, right? You have these people that have these, like, reputations of being good sources, and they can get away with saying bullshit a couple of times, and people just buy it. And Low Level Learning is one of those people who, for the most part, has great videos, makes great content. So he can just say complete bullshit like this, and everybody, for the most part, just believes him unless someone actually calls him out, and there's still people that don't buy it. And I saw a fucking LTT clip from the LTT Windows anti-cheat. Let's see, what was the video called? Microsoft could save Linux gaming, which again it starts off by talking about the GTA 5 anti-cheat thing where they added BattleEye, but then by like a minute in, it talks about how, again, the bullshit fucking notebook check article. Hey guys, Microsoft is gonna move anti-cheat out of the kernel. No, they're not gonna do that. Every time someone says, like, someone references this notebook check article, it does so much fucking damage to the discussion around Linux anti-cheat. This topic has been ruined for years to come now because fucking lazy YouTubers, lazy fucking journalists keep repeating this stupid blog post, this stupid, like, it's just blog spam. Like, when people say blog spam, that is what that notebook check article is. Someone who didn't read any of the sources, who is just making bullshit claims, not saying, oh, this might happen. Like, if you shroud it in speculation, like, this is what this could mean, fine, whatever. But a definitive statement that something is going to happen, I am now going to have to deal with people. Liam's going to have to deal with people. Fucking the Steam Deck gamer, Gardner Bryan, half his channel was Steam Deck content at this point. Deal with people just who think that respected tech YouTubers said something correct when they just didn't read. And it's so fucking annoying. And like, I have been, every time I have to see this blog post again, it just bothers me, right? Like, this blog post might actually be a really great, like, litmus test for who doesn't bother to do any research when they make content, right? Anybody who's made any video on this, any article on this, who has said that Microsoft is going to move things out of the kernel, just don't trust them, because they clearly don't read the content they're talking about. And I've made mistakes in the past, like, absolutely, but, like, when I make a mistake, I'm gonna fucking admit I made a mistake, and sometimes I pull down the video, sometimes I pin a comment, but, like, to just keep repeating this, when, if you look up Microsoft kernel anti-cheat, like, if you just look up this fucking topic, my video is the first thing that shows up. It is the top video. I guess it's the third. What is this? Please, for the love of God, tell me this is not it. Please, for the love of fucking God, you do not reference it. Please, 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 please. Wait, when is this one from? September. Oh no. Oh no. Gamers and Linux. Wait, Gamers and Linux users jump the gun. The Verge speculated Microsoft in early stages of designing studio platform which can move Leonard Bernardon of ACS. Holy shit, I was worried for a second that the top article could not read. This is a reasonable way to frame it. Not entirely accurate, but certainly better than some of the others. Certainly better than that. But, like, third article here is from Liam, who's just calling this out. So, yeah. I I really hope I don't have to deal with this article any longer. Like, I saw a post about preempt RT, like real-time OS support in the Linux kernel, which had a fucking reference to this goddamn article. And then the person was like, wait, I guess it's bullshit, and like linked to my video. Like, there are people who care about Linux kernel patching who've been fucking misled by this goddamn article, and I'm sick of it. I'm genuinely fucking sick of it. I don't care if you get bullied because I made a video calling you out on this. You should be, right? Just read. How difficult is it to read this fucking Microsoft blog post and realize what it's actually saying? You don't have to read it. Just read Liam Dawes' article, right? Like, if the Microsoft thing's too technical for you, read Liam's article and you won't fucking see it. I know it's tempting to make a bullshit video that convinces people of nonsense, but like, can you at least bullshit about something that doesn't have to do with Linux? Just bullshit about something that's not in my space, and that's fine. I don't care if you bullshit about politics. Just go do that. That's fine. Everyone else is on every side of the political spectrum. Just fucking do that. Stop talking about my shit. Stop talking about something where I have to go and correct people on nonsense. But hey, it's free content. It is free content, at least. If you do bullshit about it, I'm going to call you out, and you deserve to be called out. Yeah. Actually, speaking of calling things out, I'm going to do a video on this. It's probably out by the time you guys are seeing this, but Winamp really kicks the llama's ass. Winamp decided to go source available. Now, they have... Oh man, they have done a number on this repo. Firstly, here is the license. The Winamp Collaborative License WCL. The Winamp Collaborative License is a free copyleft license for software and other kinds of works. It is designed to ensure that you have the freedom to use, modify, and study the software, but with restrictions on the distribution and modification to maintain the integrity and collaboration of the project. Restrictions. No distribution of modified versions. You may not distribute modified versions of the software, whether in source or binary form. No forking. You may not create, maintain, or distribute a forked version of the software. Official distribution. Only the maintainers of the official repository are allowed to distribute the software and its modifications. Copy left license. Copy left license. Copy left license. Fuck you. It's a copy left license. Oh, you know what? Let's does the FSF website have a good definition of copy left? You know what? First line here works really well. Copy left is a general method for making a program or other work free, in the sense of freedom, not zero price, and requiring all modified and extended versions of the program to be free as well. So, how do you have a copyleft project that you can't distribute? So if you can't modify it and you can't distribute it, how exactly? how again, if you can't distribute modified versions, how can you share the source code for the modified version? Like, this is literally counter to the definition of copyleft. Like, these two things cannot be true at the same time. Look, you know what? In like hyper like dumbass legal mental gymnastics, so it's copyleft because you have to distribute the source code for modified versions. However, because modified versions cannot be made, by definition, you are distributing the source code for modified versions because the core version is the only version. Therefore, like, it's actually fucking dumb. And this, don't worry, this is the surface. This is the fucking surface. This is the minorest of minorest things. Let's go to the commits and let's go to what's a good one? Initial community commit. Is this a good one? No, that's the DLLs. We don't want that one. What's a good one? Merge branch? No. Where it's it. I know it's in here. They have not collapsed any. They've not rebased anything yet. Shit. Remove expired certs. No, that's actually just certs. This will work. Remove potential unlicensed code. Now, keep in mind the word potential unlicensed code. Let's click dolbypayload.cpp. Let's go to the top where there is the license notification. Right here. Copyright 2000, 2002, Dolby Laboratories, Inc., all rights reserved. Do not copy, do not distribute confidential information. Let's click another one. Let's say this one right here. Oh, okay, that one does not have one. Fair enough. This one. Load diff. This is a clean one. Okay, that one is clean. But there is a number of these... There's a number of these Dolby files. There's a number of these Dolby files that have do not copy, do not distribute, confidential information. So they are leaking internal Dolby files. Here's another one, Dolby Laboratories. Do not copy, do not distribute, confidential information. They are leaking internal Dolby files that they do not have the ability to leak. Now, just in case anyone's forgotten, the developers of Winamp are not the developers of Winamp. The people who currently own it are some, like, NFT crypto grift company who bought the Winamp IP and are now trying to make as much money off nostalgia as possible. They have no clue what's in this code base. They are not even developers, as should be evidently clear by what's happening in here. Like, all of this stuff should be rebased and done in private. The fact that you're leaving all of this here when you're literally leaking code you don't own is wild. Wild to me. There is a number of also that's some other stuff there. There was another one here. There was more stuff that they actually hadn't. Oh yeah, right. There was there's more code still in the repo. At least it was. Maybe they've cleaned it all up now. But I would not be surprised whatsoever if there was more code currently in the repo that they do not have the ability to open source. Like, I would not be surprised at all. And apparently they've leaked some code for Shoutcast 3 that, like, shouldn't be leaked either. I wonder if we can find it in here. Someone mentioned it. I don't know if we're gonna be able to find it though. I wish I saved a link to it. People were saying that it might have happened over on Twitter, so, you know, Twitter is the most valid, copyright source related to Shoutcast and stuff. Yeah, there's someone mentioning it. But I don't know if it's actually true. Like, I'm not certain. But like, if you look at the way the commits are done here, like these are not commits done by someone with development experience, and this is not how you handle this repo. Also, there's the fact that apparently GitHub's TOS does not like allow you to do source available code. I didn't realize this. Where is it? By setting your repository to be viewed publicly, you agree to allow others to view and fork your repository. So apparently, like, it just straight up violates GitHub's TOS. There is other source available code on GitHub, so I don't know how true that is. But like, it is genuinely true that this is not a copyleft project at all. You don't understand Git. What is this one? We can see all that closed source code. You know, right? Removed Goofy A license. Oh, that's fucking great. This... Wait, tree include... Oh, here we go. Tree includes... Shoutcast DNAs. Yeah, so apparently this is code from Shoutcast, which... Oh my... Like, what are you doing? Like, how do you not... Like, it's not like one file, whatever, like... What? Yeah, one file here. No. It's like hundreds of files that they've leaked from, like, this repo. Absolute morons. And the more I learn about this repo... the more... What? Wait, I haven't tried and I won't, but it looks like the sign tool PFX file and password are part of the release. Oh, okay. So that's the issue there, where they were leaking expired certs as well. So that's this one here. they were leaking fucking certs. Now they're lucky they're expired because this is 30-year-old code. What are they? Genuinely, I have to ask, what are you doing? Why? And I have no doubt this repo is going to be a goldmine of people who are just finding more shit with this. Like, if this is what is here now, there is going to be more. Like, no doubt in my mind whatsoever. Whatever. I'm gonna make a video on this, so if you want to see more, like, if you want to see more coherent, there's gonna be a video on the channel before this comes out anyway, so you probably already heard most of what I'm gonna say. Just kill Winamp. I love Winamp. Winamp's a great project. I used Winamp long ago, but like the people who own it now are just trying to cash in on the Winamp name. They have nothing to do with Winamp. And it seems like people are mocking them for it, which they kind of deserve to be mocked because they are clearly, they're clearly not, they're clearly unaware of what they're doing. They're clearly very unaware of what they're doing. But, yeah. Do we have anything short in here I want to talk about before we end off? What is this one? Oh, this is a fun little one. Apparently, the official OpenAI X account or Twitter account was taken over to peddle a crypto scam, which is very funny. So the account was taken over and started trying to sell a OpenAI token, which is honestly, I see that and I'm like, wait. Is this actually real? Is this a grift on top of a grift? Like it wouldn't be out of character to have a massive AI company sell a crypto token, right? Like you have the bubble combined with the bubble to become the biggest of the bubbles. But no, sadly this was not real. Oh, actually, well, on that note, one last thing. The Marcus Brownlee grift. Marcus Brownlee who made a wallpaper app for $50 a year that was collecting your location data, and one of the wallpapers it had was orange. Like just literally just orange. Like that's and another one cyan. And that was one of the ones by like their artists, so apparently he's working on like changing the pricing and all of this stuff, so maybe it'll be better. But no matter what the price is, literally any price that you see for a wallpaper app is too much money. Like especially because it also had like AI generated wallpapers. So why would I pay for AI generated wallpapers when I can pay for a sub to an AI generator tool and generate my own wallpapers? Like, what? Why would I do that? I wouldn't. And I don't know who would. But apparently people buy these wallpaper apps anyway. And like, remember the days when you just buy an app? It was like, hey, you want to pay like $3 for this app? And you just get the app. You just have the app forever. Nope. Everything has to be a sub fee. Everything has to be not even just a sub fee, but a sub fee higher than you pay for like Spotify, right? Like higher than you pay for Spotify for an app to let you download wallpapers. And someone actually did someone did scrape the server that they are located on, so they just downloaded all the wallpapers anyway. So good job there, having zero authentication, knowing that things are coming from the application, and you just have like a fucking plain HTTP server. Fantastic job. Obviously, people are gonna find that it's very easy to work out where your packets are going, but you know, yeah. Anyway, that's gonna be it for me. It has been a solo episode, which is always fun to do. I don't know if I'm going to do more of them, or we're going to go back to doing guest stuff, or what we're going to do. But I don't know. This was fun. It has been a nice change to do a solo episode once again after the very, very long break we've had between this one and the last one. If someone knows what my last one was and how long the gap was, please let me know. Yeah. I'm not going to stop doing guest episodes. Don't worry. Like, there's going to be more guest episodes coming out. I've probably recorded it by now, but by like time you guys are seeing this, but there will be an episode with Carl Rochelle coming out at some point. I'm still working on stuff with the Gen 2 creator, so when he's not busy with his kids, which is totally fair, we will do that one as well. I've got an episode. I'm gonna bring Vanny on at some point. VTuber I met a little while ago. That will be a fun episode as well. And I don't know. I'll drag other people on the podcast as well. As I said, I have a big list. At some point, I'll bring Leah on the podcast. Actually, I need to specify there's like 12 different Leahs. Leah Rowe, the Libre Boot developer. There's another Leah I want to bring on as well, who is involved in Chromebook stuff. Yeah. Anyway, that's gonna be it for me. So, if you're not subbed to the main channel, that is Brody Robertson. I do videos, Linux videos there 6-ish days a week. I've got the gaming channel, Brody on Games, stream there twice a week. I am actually now an affiliate, so if you want to give me your Twitch Prime, I would appreciate... I just poked myself in the eye. I would appreciate your Twitch Prime. I've got my React channel, Brody Robertson Reacts, which I will eventually rebrand probably to like Robertson Reacts or Robbo Reacts. I don't know. It's Brody Robertson Reacts feels like too many syllables. And if you're listening to the audio version of this, you can find the video version on YouTube at Tech Over Tea. If you want to find the audio version, there is a podcast RSS feed. Put it into your favorite podcast app, and you'll be good to go. So, yeah, that's going to be it for me. And, yeah, solo episodes are back in some form or another. Yeah.